On today's episode of the Cryptoverse, we're going to check in on the progress of the Lightning Network. We're going to spend a few minutes talking about the price of IndaHash and Bitcoin, and the company behind EOS have formally announced what they're going to do with that $1 billion they have raised in their token sale. So all of that on today's episode of the Cryptoverse, so stay right there. Hi there guys, welcome to the latest episode of the Cryptoverse, your regular dose of news and commentary on Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies and blockchains. I'm your host, Chris Coney. So the Lightning Watch, it's now a new daily segment. Let's have a look at today's stats then. We have 178 nodes, 422 channels, and about $29,000 of capacity. In fact, let's just dig the spreadsheet out. The long and the short of it is the change in capacity in the last 24 hours is about 15.8%. So there's 15.8% more payment processing capacity in the Lightning Network than there was 24 hours ago. So you can either measure that in Satoshis and say it's 267 million Satoshis or $29,000. Some of you asked me to grade it in dollars, but not terribly meaningful since the price of Bitcoin fluctuates. So that's what the Lightning Network looks like right now. And this is what it looks like on the chart. There's been a little bit of drop in the capacity as a whole, as you can see here from the green line dropping, but the number of channels continues to rise. Now, many of you were asking me whether I was concerned about centralization on the Lightning Network. And another way to say that is, should we be concerned about centralized hubs developing? Well, we see some evidence of that happening here already. Our old friend SleepyArk, which is this node here, which I can drag around, you can see how interconnected that is, right? On the positive side, that's the ideal position that a web wallet like Blockchain.info could occupy. And then they would earn small fees for routing payments, right? And that would pay for their free web wallet software. That's win-win, isn't it? On the downside, these hubs are potential danger zones that can be attacked both technically and legally, say by imposing know your customer regulations on the hubs, and then all of these little nodes that connect to them would have to then go through identity verification and so on. So that's a privacy concern. Now I've been thinking about this problem, and I think I have a technical solution for it. Why don't the developers of the Lightning Network technology bake decentralization into the code itself? When you want to open a channel, you could opt to scan the network, say find some nodes with the fewest connections, and then open a channel with them. For example, right over here, we have a node which doesn't have a name, it just has an alias, but it has one connection to this blue node here. So why couldn't it then establish a channel right over here? You know, bypassing the network, bypassing this hub, and creating a route right around the edge to someone over here who's also kind of an orphan with a single link. Why couldn't the software scan for that and then opt to open channels with the nodes with the fewest connections, right? Similarly, when the Lightning software is calculating the route across the network, so say if this blue node wanted to pay this over here, well then it calculates, it can go through lots of different routes and hops and so on and so forth. Now, of course, it has to go through this SleepyArk one that we talked about because it's the only way to reach the destination if you're targeting one of these recipients, right? So what I'm saying is, when calculating that route, why doesn't the Lightning software intelligently take a path that would rebalance the account balance in certain channels along the way, right? Because one of the concerns is like these things operate like hot wallets. So you would have a certain amount of money in the channel, but if the channel is opened with a company where you only do business one way, say for example if it's a coffee shop or a pizza shop, the money only generally goes one way from you to them. It doesn't generally come back. The coffee shop doesn't generally transfer money back to its customers on a regular basis anyway, maybe for the odd refund. Same with the pizza shop, it's always us paying them, us paying them, us paying them. So eventually your wallet gets empty and you have to refill it. But these payment channels are supposed to be two-way. Do you know what I mean? Because that's how it would maintain itself. Otherwise, you'd have to keep refilling the channel and broadcasting transactions on the main network. So I'm saying, when deciding what route to take, why doesn't the software figure out who needs reimbursing in the opposite direction, and then send the money through your pizza shop back to you, even though it's not the pizza shop giving you the money, they're just relaying the payment. Do you know what I'm saying? So why? I mean, that might sound double Dutch to some of you, but I just don't understand technically why you couldn't do that, and I actually don't understand technically how you would do that. So maybe I'm talking out of turn here. Of course, like I said, if this sounds balmy from a technical point of view, let me know in the comments below. Let me know in the comments below what you think to this whole philosophy of mine regarding the Lightning Network and my proposed solution. So routing around the edge, right? Opening channels with nodes that aren't very well connected, and then intelligently routing the payments so that we can balance the back and forth, in the channel, so that the balances remain balanced, right? The account balances remain balanced. And of course, preferably post me a comment on Steemit or DTube so I can tip people who give the best answers. Moving on to story number 2 then, the Bitcoin and the IndaHash prices. So let's do IndaHash first, because yesterday they got listed on their first exchange, and most of you will be delighted that I've got CoinMarketCap in dark mode today, because some of you don't like the bright screen shining in your face. So here we go. This is CoinMarketCap. It just happens to be in night mode. Now, at this very moment when I record this, the IDH token, IndaHash, is trading for around 44 cents. The ICO pre-sale price was 18 cents, and then the public sale price was 28 cents. So pretty good all round. Now, granted, the amount was in Ether, but I converted it at the time and so on. So while this is good right now, it looked pretty bad a few minutes after the market opened, because the price tanked something like 75%. But since then, it's recovered to a reasonable price. I'm going to put it on white screen again. I'm sorry about that. So no, I'm not. I've already turned it into Tidex's dark mode. I was just going to warn you that it was going to go white, but it hasn't, because I thought ahead. This is Tidex. This is the exchange that IndaHash was listed on yesterday. And it's still showing a 41% drop in the last 24 hours. So that's what I mean. It was down 75%. If you're looking at this on the video, you'll see it tanked in the first, literally few minutes right down here, and has since recovered to a reasonably stable price of about, I don't know how you measure that in Ethereum, but it's 0.00042 Ether per token, and it's trading against Bitcoin and Ethereum on Tidex. Now, IndaHash has done something very smart. During their ICO, they had a referral program that paid IDH tokens as commission, right? And the IDH tokens that are owed to those referral partners, they're not being unlocked until the 14th of February. Now that gives the ICO participants a chance to trade before the referral partners. And the reason I think that's smart is because the referral partners have no skin in the game, right? Since their tokens didn't cost them any money, the referral partners are the ones most likely to just immediately dump their tokens and sell them, right? If IndaHash had unlocked those tokens for the referral partners, they would have done just that. They would have just taken a massive dump, and it would have potentially been even more catastrophic for the price. I mean, who knows? The price may still tank on the 14th of February, but at least the ICO participants have now had a chance to trade for 3 weeks before that happens, right? And IDH is only currently trading on Tidex, but it's due to go live on HitBTC this week, I believe. There was some delay with HitBTC upgrading their platform or so on. So like Friday is what I'm thinking, but don't quote me on that. That's not an official number, but it's happening. It is happening. Anyway, Bitcoin price then. So Bitcoin, very indecisive still, hovering around the $11,000 mark. Still this descending triangle, but with good bottom support, you'll notice, right? So look at the tail of this big crash here, which got down to a low. I'm going to have to turn the flipping crosshair off again because it gets in the way. This day, which was the 22nd of December, when we had a big old correction, got down to a low of 10,700. So again, around the 11,000 mark. And this zone between sort of 10 and 12,000, this seems to be the good support zone. Because even this crash that we've had more recently, if I zoom in just a touch here, let me get rid of the RSI and whatnot so we can really see this in context. Oopsie, kind of snagged myself there. Right. So look at these tails. The market doesn't seem to want to go down below 10,000. And neither does it want to go above sort of 12,000, it seems, over the last, what's this, let's call it 10 candles, right? So all of these tails are hanging around the 10,000 mark and keep springing back up again. The fact that you get these long heads and long tails, that's indecision again. So you get these spinning top patterns, and yesterday, big spinning top pattern. So everyone's real cautious by the looks of this. Even when there was a bit of a pump, it was like everyone got freaked out and started to sell off again. So that was almost looking like a dead cat bounce, in the sense that it was down, it looked like a recovery. It was going to do the dead cat bounce, but it didn't, because it got stuck at 10,000 again, which was support. It's actually 10,300, this white line that I've got on the charts here. That seems to be a good point of support. Even today, we are at 10,430 as a low. So I'm pretty confident about that, actually, given that all of these lows are not able to maintain below 10,300. And again, back here, 22nd of December, it didn't actually get anywhere near that. It got to 10,700 and then bounced back up once again. Bringing back the RSI, it does look a little bit oversold. It's at 39 right now. A little bit oversold, not really, nothing to write home about, mind you. One thing that would concern me is that you see the 200-day moving average here. If I just turn off the lines and whatnot, you see the green line. This is my 200-day exponential moving average. It's not only is the 50-day moving average bending downwards now, the 200 days flattening and potentially bending downwards. But again, these are lagging indicators, right? They only tell you what happened in the past, don't really give you an indication of what is about to happen. So I think if this price continues to flatten out along the 10,300 line, then of course the moving averages will flatten out as well. Now, today is Wednesday, right? And I was going to bring you the cryptocurrency gradings from the Weiss ratings agency. However, it's still 3 hours and 13 minutes to go before they release this. So I'm sorry, you're going to have to wait until tomorrow for me to report on this. But assuming they release it on time, I'll bring you this tomorrow on tomorrow's show. Of course, I'm not going to bring you it today on tomorrow's show, am I? Anyway, the main story that I wanted to talk about is EOS. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen this yet, but this is the full recording from the recent EOS meetup in South Korea. So it's available to watch in full. They live streamed the announcements. It was like a 30-minute live stream, but this is the 1.5 hour full recording of the entire presentation. Now, if you fast forward to 1 hour and 9 minutes, you'll jump straight to this part, which is the special announcements part. So they formally announced that Everypedia is being built entirely on EOS. And instead of doing an ICO, Everypedia are just going to airdrop all of their, quote, IQ tokens onto holders of EOS. So those are two good pieces of news. The biggest announcement, though, was the answer to the question of what Block One intend to do with the $1 billion that they have raised in the EOS token sale. So here's Brendan Bloomer there, the handsome-looking fellow. He's the CEO of Block One, and he actually says it's more like $1.1 billion that their token sale has generated. Now, I've seen tons of people get upset about this, saying it was just a massive cash grab by Block One, and it was some big scam and so on. Well, this announcement formally puts those concerns to rest. You can watch the whole announcement for yourself if you want to, but I'll give it to you here. So Brendan announces EOS VC, or EOS Venture Capital. So this is where Block One will select a group of existing venture capital companies and allocate each of them some of this $1.1 billion. Those VC companies will then be responsible for screening various startups that intend to build apps on EOS. And then those VCs will decide which ones are best, and those ones will get funded, right? So these VCs will help Block One to allocate this $1 billion worth of capital, and by investing it on people building decentralized apps on EOS. So Basically, that $1.1 billion generated by the token sale is going to be injected back in to the EOS ecosystem to build world-class decentralized apps. Pretty good stuff, right? And then these app developers, they won't have to concern themselves with doing things like their own ICOs, right? They'll just pitch their business ideas to EOS VC partners and then receive funding if their business plan is solid. So it's kind of going to be like Dragon's Den or Shark Tank type of thing, right? That's how VCs work. So all of that came out on the 13th of January in this announcement. But yesterday, if I flip over to a Steemit article, yesterday EOS announced that a VC venture called Galaxy Digital, which Mike Novogratz is the CEO of, will be one of these VC partners, and they will receive $325 million of this fund. So $325 million of this $1.1 billion that they've raised in the token sale will be allocated to Galaxy Digital, and they will then be responsible for screening EOS-based startup apps and then funding them and then nurturing them. Now, if you don't know who Mike Novogratz is, you can look him up. He's a billionaire, ex-hedge fund manager, yada, yada, yada. So this ultimately means that EOS will launch with a pretty wide range of real-world decentralized apps with real use cases, because these venture capital companies are not going to fund a business that doesn't have a business model and a commercial application, right? So the development of the EOS software is due to be completed by the 1st of June 2018, so not long to wait now. And just to let you know, I do hold a lot of EOS tokens, so I'm totally biased, and you should not take any notice of what I've said. Please verify all of this for yourself and then make up your own mind about EOS. Alright, thanks very much for joining me today, guys. If you like this episode, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you're new around here, get subscribed. If you would like access to my very best material, head on over to my website, cryptoversity.com. Click on courses. You can either take an online course from the top here, or you can scroll down to the bottom and attend one of my live events coming up very soon. I'm doing an evening talk in London on the 3rd of February, or you can come on the 10th of February to a one-day crypto investing workshop where I'll teach you in person. Other than that, guys, if you want to comment on this episode, please do so on Steam. Come and follow me on Steam. It's steemit.com/@marketingmonk. The reason why you might want to do that is if you make a good comment, I can actually tip you with cryptocurrency in the Steam cryptocurrency. So if I just click on the upvote, that will tip you in Steam if you give a good answer or a good contribution to the discussion. Other than that, guys, I'll be back tomorrow with another episode of the Cryptoverse. So until then, it's me, Chris Coney, saying bye for now.